Okay, you've got your guitar. It's not the best, it's not the worst, and you haven't played it for a long time. But come on! Peace and blessings to you guys. I'm Bongo Clive, Bongo's Rhythm Shack. This is the place where we get to have fun. And yeah, so if you've got your guitar and you've had it for a long time and you've come off the boil in playing it, or you never quite got your journey started, Bongo's Rhythm Shack is about inspiring you and encouraging you to pick it up again and get going. Well, we're going to be looking at the E minor chord. That's the first chord I'm going to be showing you. Obviously, our guitars need to be in tune. So I have got another video that shows you how to tune your guitar. So if you'd like to just skip over to that one, and hopefully you'll be in tune for when we start. Right, let's get our guitar. So this is my acoustic guitar, nothing special. Had it many years, over 30 years in fact. Love it to bits, and yeah, it still works. So we're going to be looking at the E minor chord. But before we do, let's just look at these markings along the neck. So this is your neck. These wire lines, if you like, that are vertical, they're called frets. So it's really important that you understand that, because wherever you place your fingers on these frets will determine what sound or what note you produce on each string. And when we come to playing chords, which is what we're going to start with first, where you place your fingers will determine what sort of chords you play and whether they sound pleasing to the ear. And we want to create sounds that are pleasing to the ear. And it's all going to be simple fun. I'm not going to be going into anything complicated. I don't do complicated really, but we're going to try and keep it simple. We will keep it simple, and it's going to be packed with fun. So even from the first chord that you learn, which will be the E minor chord, I've got a jam track that I've created, and we're just going to jam along to that. So let's look at the E minor chord. What you want to do is you want to place your first finger on the 5th string in the 2nd fret. So you count the strings. 1, which is your high E string, which is the thinnest string. Okay? Bit confusing because it's at the bottom of the guitar, towards your knee, towards the floor. So that's the thinnest string. That's your high E string, and that's number 1, string number 1. Then string number 2 is your B. So you're working your way up towards the top of the guitar, this section here, up towards your chin. And so the 2nd string is the B string. Then we're coming up. The 3rd string is the G string. The 4th string is the D string. The 5th string is the A string, and the 6th string is the low E string. Now you would have noticed that you've got 2 E's. We've got the high E, and we've got the low E. Some people say the top E, and some people say the bottom E. Okay, so we've got that in place. Let's look at placing our fingers for the E minor chord. So your first finger is going to go on the 5th string in the 2nd fret. 1st fret is there, 2nd fret is there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your 2nd finger is going to go on the 4th string in the 2nd fret. So the 4th string is the D. So we've got that in place, and then what we'll do is we'll strum down all 6 strings from the low E all the way down to the high E string. So it will sound like this. Now you should sound like that, okay? You don't want to sound like this. You don't want that kind of sound. Which means that if you're getting that dead sound, it means that you're putting your fingers on other strings. The backs of your fingers are touching on other strings. So you want to kind of imagine that your frets, the neck of the guitar and the fretboard, is like a river. And your fingers are like a bridge. So your fingers want to form a bridge over the strings, over the river. So you don't really want to be touching other strings. Certainly not in the way that I'm teaching these chords. When you get into more advanced stuff, lots of guys on YouTube, fantastic players, they'll show you how to mute other strings as you're playing. But you need to be able to do that. It's a technique, more advanced stuff. But we're keeping it in the end in a sort of shallow pool for all us beginners, and we're just going to have fun splashing around in a shallow pool. Okay, so let's get this E minor shape going again. 1st finger, 5th string, 2nd fret, 2nd finger, 4th string, 2nd fret, and strum down. So I'm going to count you in. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll strum on the 1. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1. Fantastic. As you're playing these chords, really listen to the chords that you're playing. Listen out that you're actually getting nice clear sounds, nice clear notes, but also fall in love with these chords. I love these chords. I love the E minor chord. It's great. And it's a chord that you're going to use many times over in different songs as you progress. Now, speaking of songs, Bongo's Rhythm Shack is not about teaching songs. There are lots of great guys, got YouTube channels going on where you can learn whatever song you want to learn. Bongo's Rhythm Shack is about having fun, putting together some simple chord progressions. That's just when you get a few chords together and they sound nice, they fit well. Put in a drum beat and a bass line, maybe some keys and maybe some percussion, and jamming around those chords. Some of these progressions may sound like songs that you know. They may have the flavor of certain songs that you know. And that's great. But the emphasis for me is just to jam around some chords and then hopefully inspire you to put together your own chords, your own chord progressions, and your own rhythms and patterns and strumming, and maybe if you are inclined to come up with some lyrics, you can create your own songs. So that's what it's all about for me. Okay, so let's play the E minor again. Are you ready? Your fingers should be in position. 1st finger, 5th string, 2nd fret. 2nd finger, 4th string, 2nd fret. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1. Brilliant, well done. Now you will notice that we were strumming just a single strum. But there are lots of different types of strum patterns, and we'll get into that as we progress. But what I'd like to do at this point is strum a different pattern for you to play along to. Okay? So I'd like you to still play on the first beat, so on the 1. Count along with me, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1. I'm actually going to change my strum pattern, so it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1. Okay, so we try that. Here we go. E minor chord. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and strum. 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 Well done. Brilliant. So we've been strumming the E minor chord. It's time now to play along to a little backing track that I've created. So let's get with the E minor. Try and remember where you're putting your fingers. First finger, 5th string, 2nd fret. Second finger, 4th string, 2nd fret. So here's the backing track. And here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and strum. And again, strum. E minor. E minor. Okay, so we just stopped that there. You notice I changed the counting. So I counted 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of prepares us a bit. And the other thing that was different is that we didn't strum every time we counted 1. So in this backing track, we're just going to play the E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then strum it again. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Every time we count a 4, that's called a bar. So in this backing track, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first bar. We don't strum on the second one. 2, 2, 3, 4. Strum on the third one. 3, 2, 3, 4. And then we don't strum on the fourth one. So it sounds a bit confusing the way I'm counting it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. That way it can help us to stay on track and to know when we're supposed to play, because we know what bar we're in. Okay, so let's play that again. Get ready. 1, 2, 1, 2. E minor. minor, E minor, E minor. Fantastic. So I had to be quick to switch that off then. Now in this backing track, I've got two other chords. For those of you who know your chords already, or know a few chords, the second chord we're going to play is called a C add 9. Now the C add 9 chord is a lovely sounding chord and lots of people use it. That's a nice chord. So you've got your regular C, but you've got a C add 9. Sounds like that. And then the third chord is a D. Now for you absolute beginners, I'm not expecting you to play the C add 9 and the D. I want you to concentrate on E minor so that you can just spend time listening to that chord. You can spend time concentrating on where your fingers need to go and also how you're fitting in with this jam track. So if you were playing in a band or with a group of other players, there's all those sort of things you have to bear in mind. It's not a confusing situation and it's not difficult, because the more you jam, the more you play along with others, the more you'll find you just fit in naturally. It's great. So Bongo's Rhythm Shack is about providing that kind of setting. The tracks are not bang on perfect in timing and everything. That's not what I'm about. And so hopefully it will just be inviting for you to come in and strum and play along. So we've got the E minor, then we've got the C add 9. C add 9, okay? And then we've got the D. And then we've got the E minor. I won't be spending time teaching you the C add 9 right now. Hopefully if you know it, then you can play it. That will be for another video. The D, if you know it, you can play it. Right now I just want to concentrate on the E minor and see how we get on. So for you absolute beginners, you're in. This is your one chord and you're in. That's what bongo is all about. One chord and you're in. You don't have to learn loads of chords just to have a jam, okay? And so, but for those of you who can play chord number 2, which is a C add 9, and chord number 3, which is the D, fantastic. So, let's strum and see how we get on. 1, 2, 1, 2, E minor, E minor, E minor, E minor, E minor, C add 9, then a D, E minor, C add 9, D, E minor, C add 9, D, E minor, C add 9, D, E minor. Fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, that was great. Okay, as I said before, Bongo's Rhythm Shack is all about inspiring you and encouraging you to get going in your musical journey. And maybe you did at one point and it's kind of sidelined for all sorts of reasons, work, home responsibilities, whatever. And but if you feel you're in the sort of lay-by of life concerning your guitar playing, and you've got your guitar and you would like to get it out of the cupboard and out of the case and from under the bed or wherever it is, and get strumming again. Bongo's Rhythm Shack is your place. So because it's a journey, journeys are all about trips. Now a trip is somewhere which is kind of, you've planned to go somewhere and you plan to return home. So for us, when I talk about a trip, a tip for the trip, it's something I'm going to add on as just a little bit of insight and maybe a little bit of knowledge to do with your musical journey. But it means that I'll put it out there and we come back to what we're learning. So in this case, we're learning the E minor. And for those of you who can play chord 2 and 3, C add 9 and D, we're all in the groove together. Tip for the trip. Well, what I'd like us to do is just value our hands, because you really need your hands to be able to play an instrument. Okay, so you need to make sure your fingers are working and you're looking after them, and yeah, you value them. At this point, you're probably looking at the grooves at the tips of your fingers after playing E minor for so long, and you're maybe feeling a little bit of discomfort there, a little bit of soreness. Unfortunately, quite a lot of people give up at that point because they're like, oh no, my fingers are hurting. But I want to encourage you, please don't give up at this point, because the more that you play, the more often you play, the harder your fingertips will become. So eventually they'll just toughen up and you'll be able to play for that much longer. So that's the tip for the trip, is look after your fingers. Don't give up. They will toughen up and you will be able to enjoy your guitar playing that much more. So stick with the program, stick with the journey, and you'll be on your way. Excellent. Another tip for the trip is enjoy the chord that you're playing, whatever chord it is. Just enjoy the sound of that chord. And the more you play it, the better you'll get at it. And also, at this point, as an absolute beginner, I totally get it. When you can't seem to remember where to put your fingers, and your fingers don't seem to remember where they've got to go. It doesn't matter how many chords we learn, the same thing applies. You have to train your fingers to get into those positions on the fretboard. But the more you do it, the more your fingers will remember where they've got to go. And it's called finger memory. So eventually you'll be able to just strum your guitar and not have to look at the guitar or look at the guitar neck, because you would have trained your fingers over repetition. Some people, they think they just want to, they're going to get to something, they're going to get to a level of playing or whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't have to be music. Anything at all that you apply yourself to and that you want to learn. We're created to learn things by repetition. So it's by doing it and doing it and doing it, and it just gets into the head and it becomes part of you, and so eventually you own it. So please don't be discouraged and don't give up. Stick with us. We're going somewhere. Bongo's Rhythm Shack, the house of musical fun, where it's all simply laid out. We just groove our way to where we want to go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so that's your tip for the trip. Let's move on. Okay, I've got another little slot that I want to put in here, and I call it the theory drip. The theory drip. Most things, when you want to learn something about theory, music theory, it can be overwhelming. I'm on that journey. I'm trying to learn more about theory. I didn't have the privilege of starting when I was very young. So it's been a slow journey for me, and it's been an uphill struggle sometimes. But I'm getting there. Still has its frustrating moments, but I'm getting there. Now the theory drip right now is to understand that there are basically two different types of chords. There's your major chord and your minor chord. So we are looking at E minor to start with, and it sounds like this, as we know. And then the other chord is the E major, and that's a different sound. This is your E major chord, and this is your E minor chord. And some people say that minor chords sound sad and a bit gloomy, but I love minor chords. It just depends how you place them, and but we'll discover more of that as we go on. So that's your E minor chord and your E major chord. But our first chord that we're learning is E minor, so we're going to stick with that. Okay, we're going to play through the backing track again. This time I've got all the instruments that I've put into this backing track all going to be playing at the same time. So we've got the bass, other guitar parts, and also a lead guitar part that you're going to hear. So get ready. It's the E minor, okay, the E minor chord, and then the C add 9 when I call that out, and then the D, and then back to the E minor. So absolute beginners, one chord and you're in. So you're in this groove. Stick with us. Okay? For those of you who can play the C add 9, move into that. And those of you who can play the D, move into that and then back to the E minor. Have fun. Here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2.
E minor. E minor. E minor. E minor. E minor. Here we go. C add 9. D. E minor. 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 E minor. E minor. E minor. E minor. C add 9. D. 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 Finish on the E minor. Well done. Excellent. You might want to look at your fingers. I got some funky grooves in the tips of my fingers. So let's just straighten our fingers out, reshape the tips of our fingers. And well done for sticking with us and getting this far. If at any time you're feeling discomfort in your fingers or in your wrists, please do not force your way forward and continue. It's best to just stop, rest, shake the stress that's in your wrists or your fingers. The groove is always there. You can always play it again and come back to it. So the last thing we want to do is to incur any injuries through not listening to our bodies. So if you're feeling any pain at all, any discomfort, stop. Maybe your body's saying, look, I just need a rest. I'm into this, but I just need a rest, okay? And you will build up that musical stamina. The more you play, the longer you'll be able to play, until eventually you'll be on your way. You'll just pick your guitar up, strum through some chords, play whatever songs you'd like to play, and yeah, enjoy the music making process. Awesome. So if you've liked this video, please give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe and hit the bell for more, to be notified when there's more videos coming out. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, when we will explore more of the E minor, C add 9 and the D. But until then, stay blessed and enjoy.